It's just been harder and harder and harder to find those people to work.
Bethany Gotts owns Quay's Farm in Mountain Home, but now with fewer workers, a lot of the manual labor is left up to her. She tells me she's tried hiring locally, but it's been difficult to find people willing to do the hard work.
Finding a legal American here that is going to work as hard as an immigrant is nearly impossible.
She even posted job openings on Facebook.
I had 7 people contact me about it, and when I sent them the description, I had no people respond.
She says hiring undocumented workers is not an option, with serious risks for both sides.
One, you're going to get fined. You have unfortunately, an employee living in fear. They could get picked up at any moment, and then you're without an employee.
To keep her farm running, Gotts is hiring high schoolers and is now looking into the federal H-2A visa program.
I have endeavored to spend $200,000 to build a small worker housing so that I can get H-2 workers next year.
Gotts hopes for long-term solutions that support both farmers and workers.
The misnomer that farmers exploit immigrants is just so sad to me because, like I said, my friends and neighbors, we love our workers. They're our family. And they want to work, and they will work hard, and there needs to be a path for these people in our country because our government has failed them. And it is failing, I feel, the farmer.
Why not just hire people from here?
Yeah, so we would love to hire people from here. The reality is we can't find the numbers of people here. We're in a rural area, number one. Number two, this is hard work. It is difficult work. And there are lots of people that are not willing to do it.
There is a clear directive from the administration that they want mass deportation. That is impacting then our labor force. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's absolutely impacting the labor force, and the president said so himself. He said the aggressive raids are hurting our farmers. Somewhere between 50 and 60% of our farm labor workforce is undocumented immigrants. If we were to deport them all overnight, then that's 60% of the workforce. That means higher prices for them at the grocery store.
Right now, 25% of our market is completely missing. That is a 5-alarm fire for our industry.
This is not your ordinary farm crisis. We call it Farmageddon.
Farmers are struggling to find this balance between Trump's tariffs and suffering massive financial losses.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
Escalating trade tensions could make it harder to sell their products abroad.
I never thought I was going to lose this much money, this fast.
It's not good for anybody.
Right now we're kind of being shut out of some of our best markets.
Trying to stretch the dollar out a little longer.
This is probably as bad as we've seen it in well over a decade.
Nothing's moving. Nothing's moving.
It's 1 out of every 3 farms going out of business right now.
I'm not sure how we're going to stay in business. But if we don't change agriculture's direction right now, we're into a world of hurt.
Many of our farm families are going to go out of business.
The longer this drags on, we're going to lose some farmers.
The president's tariffs are putting farmers out of business.
We'll lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
If they don't do something, there's going to be some farmers that ain't going to be around next year.
I made a decision to go out this year, in the spring. So my son will not be the 7th generation on my farm.
The heartache of having to decide if I can carry on with the 5th generation farm or the 4th generation farm, and knowing that it lands on me if I don't move forward. That is a lot for a farmer to carry on their shoulders.
This is a little bit unprecedented for me because I've never really seen our country do what it's doing right now.
It's a lot easier on my family farm in my life if it's not as turbulent and it's a little more smooth.
Farm foreclosures are on the rise. Farm suicides are on the rise. Farm bankruptcies are on the rise.
What it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
Fertilizer, fuel, herbicides, machinery, all have gone up.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of love.
He's mentioned many times that he loves farmers. Right now we need to see swift action or we're going to lose a lot of these farmers that the president loves.
The American farmer, especially myself included, is we don't want aid payments. We want to work
You know, we work the land, we harvest the land, the crop off the land, and the worst thing that we could ever want is a handout.
Trump spends a lot of time talking about how tariffs are going to make us rich. Well, I don't think we should talk about anyone getting rich before we make sure farmers don't go broke.
We want to deliver the message to President Trump and his leadership team that we need trade.
And we need answers from the administration on what they can do to help America's farmers now.
The president's betting the farm on tariffs, but he's not betting his farm.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm economy as a whole is struggling. Inflation has caused our cost of production to rise drastically on every front. Commodity prices, in particular soybeans, are down about 50% from where they were 3 years ago. And our numbers are deeply in the red. And we send this letter to President Trump because we've been talking for months about needing to have sales in place, a deal in place, a phase 2 type agreement that has purchase commitments along with a level playing field on trade with no tariffs. And we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately. And our appeal to President Trump and his administration is make soybeans a priority in any trade negotiations that are taking place. Soybeans are the #1 agriculture export to China. And in the last trade war, it was 71% of the losses that we had as American farmers. And they're critical.
Yeah, so if we look at, and we're going to divide. So I'll stay with grain and oilseeds because that's what I do day to day. But I just have to say one thing about livestock. For livestock folks, we're in good world for them right now. So I'd love to be able to have as good a world that they're having in GNO, but we just don't. And so there's just so many things, and it's really a supply story this year. When you think about across the globe, we haven't had a year where every country's almost on all 8 cylinders where we're getting full production. And that's where we are right now. It's also too a bit of a dichotomy in the US is that you've got we're building corn stocks, but the world is not. It's just the opposite in soybeans, where the world's building soy stocks and we're not. And so it's a very weird world, but the fact is we just have so much supply in the world, that's just going to keep prices, really on the defensive.
Hey TikTok, I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois, and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. Like, I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
Never forget that elections have consequences. For one city in Nebraska, they're learning that shit the hard way.
Well, let's talk about it real quick. Right out of the gate this morning.
MAGA Crash Outs, episode 114. The cattle ranchers ain't having a good time at all. Won't anybody consider the ranchers? Why didn't anybody tell them that this man would devastate the entire sector, just like he did last time around?
We got an announcement from the administration about, cattle, beef prices. They're going to import a bunch more box beef, ground beef, scrap cuts, that's what I call them, and hopefully bring down the price of ground beef in the store for y'all. We've seen a market crash for live cattle, live cattle that people like myself grow and take to the processing plants or go down through the system, that's dropped 40 cents a pound already just from that plant closure. Now this morning, the markets are crashing.
Yeah, and the interesting part about all of that, and I'm sure you can guess, somebody shorted the entire market before this announcement was made.
But will your price change? So far, we have not seen that. We have not seen that. And at what expense to you? I'll tell you what expense to you. This is the opposite of what needs to happen.
Well, it depends on where you're sitting, Mr. Free Market Capitalism. This is some of that trickle-down economics y'all are such a fan of. Because this allows them to start putting ranchers out of business. And who's going to step in? Corporations. And under globalization and the free market economics y'all keep going on about in my comments, MAGA, whoever is willing to pay the highest price will receive that commodity. And guess what? It's not the American citizen. Yeah. Asia, most likely, will pay the premium for that beef. Thus, they will receive all of that on export markets, while the American citizens are getting shitty, cheap imports from places like Argentina that helps keep this global network afloat, right? Exact same thing they do with oil and gas. And none of that hits the American market. It all goes to export markets.
We're not going to retain heifers and build a herd when we can have, the stroke of a pen drop our price to where we don't make a profit anymore.
Well, they ain't concerned with you making a profit, Mr. Rancher. They're making quite a pretty penny from all this.
And honestly, that's where we stand. We finally begun to make a profit, and all hell breaks loose. People can't handle it. I guess, because beef is high in the store. I get it, beef is high in the store. Look at what else is high in the store. Look at what's high for the rancher and the producer.
And could it be those prices are high in the stores and for the rancher and producer because this is exactly what the fuck y'all voted for? Huh?
Fuel, land, labor, all of it. You got a $9 latte, but $7, $8, $9 a pound for ground beef is too much, right?
Yeah, because Americans are dumb as fuck, and they figured out if they can focus on key commodities and make people think those are cheaper, they'll think the entire economy is just roaring, the way Donald Trump insists it is. So kind of multi-pronged approach that is politically expedient but helps them achieve their long-term goals, which is putting your ass out of business.
Now you're going to get stuck with shitty ground beef. Trust me. And we won't rebuild the herd, and you're going to lose more ranchers, and in the long run, you're going to lose everything. Because where there are cattle, there is freedom. And when these disappear, so does your freedom.
Yes, that's surely how we've measured freedom this entire time. How many heads of cattle we got? Oh, fuck, we did below 30,000. That's when we should have known democracy was at risk. This is what the fuck y'all voted for. Okay, and trust it will happen across every last sector eventually. They will turn whatever is left of American production over to export markets because there's more money in it. Doesn't matter if we're all starving. Capitalists have done it several times in the past. Oh, the entire population is starving? Doesn't matter. Give me those potatoes so I can sell them on export markets, you lazy fucking peasants. Pretty amazing how quickly you lot managed to destroy the entire fucking country. Well done, MAGA.
Who benefits when it comes to these policies that are being put in place? Because if you look at America, the farmers are literally losing out left, right, and center. They are losing out on farm workers. They don't have any farm workers as a result of the mass deportation. They don't have market to sell their produce because China has turned back on American markets. They don't buy the soybeans. They don't buy the beef from America. They have looked elsewhere as a result of the tariffs policies. So what exactly is happening to the farmers in America? Are they regretting the votes? Are they happy with the way they vote? Are they happy with the way things have turned out? Because the bailout that they expected from the government is not coming. So exactly what the farmers are going to do? That's the question Americans are asking. That's the question everybody in America is looking at, because right now, when they say FAFO, this is what they call it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nishika. Please subscribe to my channel. Let's listen to the views of people in this video, and then we're going to discuss much more at the end.
This is my 39th crop. I started in 1986, the year I graduated high school. I could plant an acre of beans in 1986 for 30 bucks. It irritates me that you don't have the guts to acknowledge that the people do not pay the tariffs. I don't care if it's John Deere, Case, Caterpillar, all that stuff is outsourced overseas. And the guy that pays it is the guy that purchased it. I can buy a bearing for a combine, and it's made in Taiwan or who knows where. Parts have over doubled in the last year, if you can get them. The dealer at Marshall has a backlog for almost 4 months because they can't get parts because of Trump's stupid tariffs. I think agriculture has taken a heck of a hit on a lot of misinformation, and he is not helping the farmer. I mean, we farm about 3,500 acres. We are going to be so far in the red. When are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass for these trade deals? And the tariffs. More so the tariffs than the trade.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some fuck around and find out. We saw it in North Carolina and Texas when Trump massively cut FEMA. We saw it in Missouri when a Republican congressman was yelled at by his own constituents to get his head out of Trump's ass. Well, now it's time for Fuck Around and Find Out, the Farmers Edition, specifically Arkansas.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on. He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
What it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made the decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Now I know not everybody in Arkansas is a Republican or a MAGA voter. But remember, Kankle's McTaco Tits won that state by nearly 30 points. So the majority of people in Arkansas voted for this. And now these farmers, many of which have been farmers for several generations in their family, are finding that due to climate issues, deregulation, Trump's tariffs, and immigration crackdowns, they are losing a good 30% of their crops. And this is affecting farmers in many negative ways. The biggest one is that the largest agricultural export of ours is soybeans, and now it's at a 20-year low. But the sad thing is that a lot of these people still voted for him in November, even though he already did this to them once. In Trump's first term, he fucked over the farmers so badly, he had to issue $32 billion in bailouts. Only now he's telling them, suck it up, loser. And the hilarious part about this is, remember when Mike Johnson and the other Republicans in Congress were saying, you know, we need you guys to come out and vote in the midterms because if there are Democrats get control of Congress, Trump might get impeached again. That's now starting to work against them because all the people who are turning against Donald Trump are now using that as an encouragement to come out and vote so he does get impeached again.
My family's farmed for 100 years. You don't want to be the one that can't keep it going.
you know?
I am a Republican. I voted for this administration, but my patience is running thin.
We're here in the heart of the Mississippi Delta to talk with farmers about how the war with Iran is impacting them.
Oh, it's been awful.
The closure of the Strait of Hormuz is causing prices to skyrocket, things like diesel fuel and fertilizer.
We're buying a little bit at a time. Sometimes we know that we've only got 2 weeks of fuel. So what has happened to us is not just the impact of 1 year. We have lost customers forever. They will never come back because we're deemed an unreliable supplier.
I'm paying 60% more for diesel fuel than I would have been paying 45 days ago.
You gotta have diesel for everything. You got diesel to this, to plant, to harvest. So diesel steadily going up like this, man, it affects us bad.
You have no choice. You know, you've got to go ahead and buy it, no matter what the price is.
There's going to be a lot of people that go out of business at the end of the year, either because they have to, or because they're tired of losing money.
Farmers have already been struggling, with rising costs and even tariffs making things even harder.
It's going to be the nail in the coffin for a number of farmers. It's just the straw that broke the camel's back.
A lot of the money that comes through the economy is just shuffled from the government back to, you know, these big corporations, and just kind of, your farmers are middlemen these days. Really are.
It just seems like the farmers' margins were already slim and they just keep getting slimmer and slimmer.
We can't control diesel, we can't control, wars, we can't control anything. All we can control is once we put that seed in the ground, that's all we are called to do, right? And the rest of it is up to the good Lord.
Now, I've supported Mr. Trump this entire way. I was a big supporter of his, but I do not agree with this, and I'm not happy about this at all.
I did not vote for this administration. We're just hoping that the administration can right some of the wrongs that it's created for farmers with tariffs and mainly what this war has inflicted on us.
A lot of people that did vote for this administration say it'll come around, but my question sometimes is, will you be in business when it does?
If President Trump were standing here in this field right now, what would you say?
I'd ask him to stick a sock in his mouth and not say anything for a while.
Get these fuel prices down. Get them down.
There's an old African proverb that says, when elephants fight, it's the ants that get crushed. The ants are getting crushed.
On war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Well, the president's got it just all wrong. First, we created tariffs. Farmers are taking it on the chin with higher costs, just like everybody listening to this, viewing this. Then he starts a trade war with China, and soybean farmers are taking it on the chin. China was the largest purchaser of U.S. soybeans, and literally overnight they stopped buying soybeans, leaving bins full and farmers going bankrupt. And now, because he likes the president of Argentina, or at least that was the basis that he gave, he's going to not only, he gave them $40 billion. As a matter of fact, the first $20 billion went out, and the first thing Argentina did was lower a tax and sell soybeans to China. And now he turns around and says, I'm going to buy their beef. So it's really, many of the ranchers, we have folks on our staff and in our network, farmers that raise cattle, and, it's a betrayal. They had expected, the prices have been going up. They're finally making some money after about a decade of losses. Our cattle herd is the smallest it's been since the 50s. And they're finally now have a chance to recover and put more heifers in to be breeding stock for cows. And the president says, oh, beef's too high at the grocery store, so I'm going to import more beef. He's just got it wrong. It won't work. There's no guarantee. The big packers, 4 companies, control 80% of all the beef in this country. So you go to the grocery store, it's an illusion that there's that much choice in that case. 4 companies control the beef in this country, and there's nothing the president's doing that they will be the buyers. They'll get cheaper meat, and nothing guarantees the consumer will see a lower price. As a matter of fact, they've been making record profits during this time of high beef prices. They could stand to lower some of that, continue to pay the farmer what they need, the rancher, and provide the consumer with a fair market price in the grocery store. He's just got it wrong.
Just read this morning that Texas farmers are closing down because they can't find laborers to work their fields. Are you telling me white people won't work in the fields? Hey, all of you who thought they were taking your jobs, accepting applications now.
And there's reports now that some farmers have
100% of their workers not showing up, and they're being forced to shut down. In South Texas, they grow grapefruit, they grow oranges, lots of different citrus varieties, leafy greens, onions, potatoes, peppers. So not only are the prices of what we can get going to go up at the grocery store, but also there's going to be massive food waste if there's nobody picking these crops when they're ready to be picked. I hope MAGA likes a diet of strictly processed foods.
So you want to deport everyone, huh? In 2011, North Carolina needed 6,500 farm workers. Only 268 legal Americans applied. 245 were hired, but only 163 showed up to the first day. Worse, only 7 lasted till the end of the growing season. Migrant workers aren't taking your jobs. They're doing the jobs you would never do. And while they're doing that, they're paying taxes into Social Security, which they will never get back. And you want to deport them all. Have fun working on the farm.
Guys, I was wrong, and I can admit that. When people were saying that mass deportations would greatly affect farmers, I didn't actually think they were serious. They said that Americans were unwilling to do the jobs that immigrants do, and I didn't believe them. But this new video that I just saw proved me wrong.
It's just been harder and harder and harder to find those people to work.
Bethany Gotts owns Quay's Farm in Mountain Home, but now with fewer workers, a lot of the manual labor is left up to her. She tells me she's tried hiring locally, but it's been difficult to find people willing to do the hard work.
Finding a legal American here that is going to work as hard as an immigrant is nearly impossible.
She even posted job openings on Facebook.
I had 7 people contact me about it, and when I sent them the description, I had no people respond.
I went ahead and found the job listing. She's offering $2,000 to $3,000 a month for full-time manual labor on a farm.
She says hiring undocumented workers is not an option, with serious risks for both sides.
One, you're going to get fined. You have unfortunately, an employee living in fear. They could get picked up at any moment, and then you're without an employee.
To keep her farm running, Gotts is hiring high schoolers and is now looking into the federal H-2A visa program.
I have endeavored to spend $200,000 to build a small worker housing so that I can get H-2 workers next year.
This woman had $200,000 lying around that she could have used to pay some strapping young Idaho corn-fed boys to do the manual labor on her farm, but instead built temporary housing for visa workers. I never thought I'd live to see the day where liberal media was telling people, are you unwilling to pay Americans a fair and decent living wage for hard manual labor? Just import a bunch of people to do it for way cheaper and then put them in a house and they can't go anywhere else because what other option do they have? Man, I feel like there's a term for that, but it's just slipping my mind.
Caleb Ragland is the president of the American Soybean Association, and he just wrote an op-ed for a right-wing publication, and he said in there, quote, "Like many of my fellow farmers, I voted for President Donald Trump in the past 3 elections. The president won me over with his commitment to business-friendly tax cuts, as well as his track record of reducing regulation and cutting government spending. I am one of 500,000 soybean farmers in America who feels the pain. As a businessman, President Trump must know how urgent this is." Does he? Is he? Anyway, he goes on to say, the current trade war with China is a gamble with American livelihoods, especially for farmers, those of us who grew up with soil and sweat, who can't imagine doing anything else. Mr. President, I hope you hear our plea. Please make a deal with China now. Yeah, so he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. There is no deal to be had. As of now, the majority of Trump's base is sticking with him on these tariffs, but it's gonna catch up with them. They're gonna realize sooner or later there are no deals. He is not the deal maker. He screwed up. And no, China is not begging and pleading and knocking on our door.
Wait, you mean to tell me Americans don't want to pick lettuce for $2 an hour? No. Now the farmers are crying because they can't find any workers. Ain't that something? After you pushed out all of the immigrant workers who actually did the job, now you're standing around wondering why Chet and Kaylee won't come pick your cabbage in 100-degree weather for $4.75 and a Capri Sun? Y'all really thought folks were going to jump at the chance to break their backs for pennies on a dollar. Hey, but you know what's even funnier, y'all? Some of these farmers say the American workers they do get, they don't even last the whole damn day. One guy said somebody walked off by luck. And honestly,
I support it. Listen, I wouldn't be out there picking strawberries and fighting bees and being dehydrated just so that farmer could sell those strawberries for $12.99 a box at Whole Foods. Negative. See, they've been telling you this lie for years. They took our jobs. Nah, Americans, you didn't want those jobs. You just didn't want them to have the jobs either. Now look at you, a field full of crops and not a soul to pick them. Next time, think twice before turning labor into a culture war. 'Cause now, it's just you and your own damn tomatoes.
Y'all notice all these cattle ranchers up in arms today? They are suddenly mad because the beef market has dropped since Trump is talking about some Argentinian beef. Oh, now they're upset. Now they want to talk about save the American farmer, right? See, this is what happens when racism runs the economy instead of logic. They voted for a man who sold them a fantasy that their white skin was going to be economic policy, and that somehow legislating harm and voting for harm towards black, brown, and immigrant communities was going to bring back the good old days, right? When America was great. But here's the gag. Capitalism don't love y'all either, boo-boo. See, Trump is not loyal to the American farmers like y'all thought he was. He is loyal to profit margins. What happened to all that? Oh, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Y'all were excited about that. And if it's cheaper to import beef from Argentina than to pay y'all's fair rate in Texas, Kansas, Ohio, wherever, then baby, he's gonna sign and seal that deal and watch y'all's family farm fold like a cheap lawn chair at the county fair. See, they thought voting for Trump meant putting others back in their place. All they did was put themselves in a chokehold of their own making. Because hey, when you vote for oppression, baby, you don't get to choose who gets crushed first. That ain't how that works. See, that's what I mean when I say racism is expensive. It costs the worker, it costs the farmer, it costs the nation. See, they didn't realize they were sacrificing their own economy to feed their hatred. And now they're on here crying about losing markets, losing subsidies, losing land. And I can't even muster up a tear. Where was all this worry when it was our communities losing everything? So to all the Make America Great Again farmers, baby, welcome to the America you built, the America you voted for. America where greed don't know color and baby loyalty don't pay. 'Cause Trump ain't y'all savior, baby. He's your landlord. Oh.
Check out how Trump's policies are destroying these red state farmers who voted for him, and we're going to be right back.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
You said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Now, a lot of my liberal followers are understandably, justifiably like, well, F around and find out. That's a little too simple for my journalistic standards. There's something deeper going on here. Because if you have a historical understanding of how propaganda works on the human mind, I think everybody who's getting messed over by these Trump policies in red states who voted for him needs to start by suing right-wing media companies for radicalizing them into doing things that are against their best interests and echo chambering them out of the information that could have them more critical about his policies. I'll reiterate, if you ain't got the bandwidth to feel nothing for these people after what they've done, I feel you. But low-key, high-key, this is tragic, yo. Because even as late as May, a survey by the Purdue company of like 400 farmers showed that 70% of them still believe that Trump's tariffs is gonna have some kind of positive benefit for them. Remember that slew of executive orders that Donald Trump was just signing earlier on in the year? Well, it caused so much bureaucratic instability that it made the USDA pause funding for over 30,000 farmers in the United States. That was strike one. Strike two for the farmers was when Doge came in and gutted USAID. Everybody was like, oh, that's just a front for the CIA across the world. Maybe, but also it created automatic buyers all across the world for American-grown wheat and corn and anything that could bridge the gap for starvation. That's gone. Strike three was the deportations. These farmers literally voted for Trump to steal their workers and wonder why ain't no work getting done when all of these compounding factors are crushing them. Strike 4, which is more than you're supposed to have, is what? The dude said it. The tariffs, he said it's the icing on the cake. We tried to tell y'all that it's Americans who pay the tariffs. Y'all didn't listen, so listen to these farmers. You know what's ironic? A lot of these farmers were dead silent or complicit in black farmers getting screwed over for decades by not only their peers, but by the USDA. So bad that they had to win lawsuit after lawsuit in the billions of dollars to get claims and damages done. And still the USDA was slow with paying them out. Had they not been so racist, they'd have had a larger coalition to argue for what they need. And what's even deeper is that a lot of these farmers' ancestors were given this land in the Homesteading Act of 1862, when freshly stolen land from Native Americans was given to European peasants for pennies on the dollar. We're talking about 1/10 of the U.S. landmass. The term chickens coming home to roost is a farming colloquialism that applies here with a ruthless poetic irony. I can't even really get myself to celebrate over this because I'm looking at how the sins of the father cascade down to the generations, how these farmers inherited not only land, but a culture from their forebearers that allowed them to be prime targets for propaganda like this. The only positive way that I could look at this is possibly a new beginning in disguise. Because if we're gonna have an America that works for everybody, it's gonna take these folks getting disappointed in this way to let this all burn down, metaphorically speaking, and plant new seeds for the future. That's just my take on it. What y'all feel? My name is Theo E.J. Wilson. Like, follow, and share this message out if you feel it. Holla back.
All right, so you've heard this situation about the farmers in America. Have you had a situation where somebody has gone to cast their votes and they vote for somebody who literally is destroying their livelihood, who's literally destroying what they sell out there because the market has been shut down as a result of the policies? That's basically what happened to the farmers in America. They went, vote, and now they're crying, telling Americans, please help us. Come to aid us because we are suffering. Our business are affected left, right, and center. We are not literally making ends meet. So literally our businesses, our farmers are being closed by banks because we cannot be able to pay our mortgages. And Americans are looking at these farmers and they're wondering, this is what you voted for. When you say make America great again, this is exactly what you voted for. People warned you guys but did not listen. People told you but did not listen. You expected to make America great again. You expected for you to benefit while other people in the communities of America to suffer. And now, as a result of the policies that have been put in place, even you guys who voted for this current administration, you are suffering. So who is to be blamed? That's the question. And the farmers are looking at themselves and they're saying, no, the way they voted, it wasn't wrong, it was the right thing. But they did not expect the current administration to vote, to put policies that are affecting them left, right, and center. So now they're asking the government to bail them out. And the government is telling them there's no money to bail them out. So they have to look for alternative elsewhere. And the farmers now, they're turning and they're looking at the government and they're looking at everybody in America and they're shouting on social media. They're saying, you betrayed us. You literally betrayed us. This is not what you promised us. You said you're going to help us have access to market across the world. You said you're going to make America great again. You say you're going to pass policies that are going to make farmers to benefit. So where are these policies? Where are these promises? Why aren't you keeping those promises? So these are the questions that farmers are asking, and they want accountability. They want the government to come through for them. Unfortunately, when it comes to politicians, sometimes they tell you one thing and they do the opposite, and that's basically what you're saying. Do you agree? I'd love to hear from you guys. And what are your thoughts? Please, are the farmers right or is the government right? And right now, American farmers literally, they are crying and they're saying, this is not what we voted for. This is not what we were told. They feel betrayed and they're regretting. Tell me, do you agree? I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye-bye. Please subscribe to my channel.